Welcome to another edition of 97 Octane Hockey. We're going to recap the Heritage Classic. Lotzi is going to join us in a little bit. Um, that was awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed yesterday. Um, I liked just about everything about that. The only beef that I really had with the whole presentation was I think they should have had F-18s flying overhead at Commonwealth. Kicking the afterburners off and making goosebumps on people for about a week. That's about the only complaint I've got. Nickelback, I thought did a great job. Thoroughly enjoyed it. What say you, Mr. Bobby, who's dressed up like Jason Voorhees for Halloween here?
Good catch.
Or Pelly Lindbergh, depending on your age. But
That's actually a game-worn mask. A cousin of mine used to wear it back in the day, so pretty good. What did I think? I mean, the whole spectacle was phenomenal. Just the quality, just the show of it all was fantastic, and just to top it all off, it's the win. And this is kind of a weird thing. Is obviously I clearly remember the first Heritage Classic, Oilers and Canadiens, and that being the first outdoor game that counted for points and everything. It was a big deal. It was awesome because it was outside. It was something new. And the whole thing kind of got ruined for me because we lost the game. That kind of puts the damper on it. So I almost feel like I enjoyed this one more just because of the fact that like we got the win and a crucial win, and the boys played great. What's the deal with Nickelback only playing 2 songs though? Is that all they had time for, or what?
So the word that I got from Tom Gazzola listening to him was they were having problems with their monitors, and they were trying to get that corrected. So I think they missed. They were probably going to do about 4 songs, but ended up starting late and kind of have a time schedule to get through to get everybody back on the ice. So they were having a little bit of technical difficulty. So that's why you only heard 2 songs from them.
Yeah, still overall though, absolutely epic performance, and I think this is a as they were talking about pregame, this could be a game that has a potential to be kind of a turning point already. And I know lots of people are saying, "Oh, it's just the Flames. I mean, they're a shitty team." Yeah, but you know what? Other teams have been saying that about us recently too. It's just the Oilers, a shitty team. These wins don't really count for much. 2 points is 2 points. 2 points against Calgary counts as much as 2 points against Vegas. So it was a good time for the win. And I thought just overall the game, I thought we finally played a fairly complete game.
We did. I mean, I guess if you're going to be a little judgmental of a win, which we're not supposed to ever do, we're supposed to just take them and go on to the next. But Calgary looked very perimeter, like not a lot of attack in the middle of the ice at 5-on-5. And how do you not, take advantage of a pair of 5-on-3s? They got 1 power play goal on the second, like on the end of the second 5-on-3 with, I think, about 3 or 4 seconds left. But credit to the penalty killing. But what the hell are you doing being that undisciplined in a must-have game? I think if it's anybody else, you're in trouble there. It's rare to see 5-on-3s in today's NHL. I can't remember the last time I saw 2 in a period.
Well, especially 2 lengthy ones like that too. Like they were a minute and a half plus, right? Both of them. And yeah, I thought overall, I mean, the numbers don't look good now because we allowed 2 power play goals against again. But overall, I thought the kill was good. I mean, we did keep on the perimeter for the most part. Our triangle on the 5-on-3, I was impressed with. Actually, a guy who impressed me quite a bit last game was Desharnais. Even before he scored that goal, one thing you and I have been bitching about in regards to him was the fact his lack of physical play for a guy as big as him. And he was doing a good job of boxing out guys in front of the net, winning some board battles, especially in the corners. I really liked his step up. That was definitely his best game of the season so far.
We're going to bring Mr. Lotsberg in now. He's looking like he was ready to walk out there last night. He's all in this gear.
Yeah, there he is.
How's it going?
All right, so you said he's getting some new gear. What are we rocking here? We got a boom arm, and I can't tell what kind of mic. Kind of looks like almost like a Shure SM7B.
It is most definitely not that. It is
Okay.
some kind of off-brand, but I'm thinking it's an upgrade over what I had before.
Well, that also looks like an XLR cable, although I could be mistaken there too.
Yeah, I don't know how the tech all works. It was just plug this cable into this hole. I was like, okay, great.
Okay. Well, that sounds kinky in a way, but is that going straight into your laptop then, or is there something else in between your laptop or?
No, just straight into my laptop. Wanted to keep it
Okay.
as simple as possible.
Okay, so that's a USB cable then.
Are you
Yeah,
nerds
for
going to
sure.
talk tech, or are we going to talk hockey? Oh my goodness!
Well, with you got to talk that stuff. I mean, when he's coming to play, you got to see what kind of tools he's bringing to the game. Speaking of bringing tools to the game and kind
Ooh,
of
what a segue!
and walking in, I'll let you guys go first. Bobby, you can take this, and then Lotzi. But what do you think of this stuff?
Oh man, I thought first off, you know what? You can make fun of it all you want, or you can applaud it all you want. I just think it's fun. I mean, both sets. I mean, you got the looks like they're trying to go for the magic Mike, but looks more like a tragic Mike situation with the Flames there, and you got the rig workers going. I just thought it was fun. I got a good chuckle out of it. Good for them.
What do you got, Lotzi?
Yeah, I think the Flames could have gone straight to a calendar shoot after this. Not exactly digging their look, but it's all in good fun. That's it's taken on a life of its own over the last few years here, with a lot of other teams doing fun entrances like this to the Heritage Classic. I saw that the Oilers put out something about an invitation to go watch the players arrive. It totally slipped my mind that they might do something fun like this. Otherwise, I probably would have been there to watch it. But I think they did a good job. A lot of fun all around.
I'm gonna say this. I think the Oilers. That's a great tribute to kind of their own name, and I like that. I like the courage of the Flames, but I gotta say this is like dollar store, redneck, make a wish, Chippendales look here. I don't know what the thought was there. It is courageous to say the least. So that's my dig on the Flames. I will give them props for on their skates. They had. A kind of a tribute to Mr. Snow there with
Yeah.
ALS support on their skates. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just a fun thing. All I could think about when the Flames are walking in is they got to be freezing, man. Like it was. It's pretty warm for this time of year, but still, it's like hovering around zero. You got no shirt on.
Yeah,
They had overalls.
I'm thinking they're walking from the bus through Commonwealth into the dressing room and changing immediately.
That's not a long tunnel. I had the opportunity to walk in there, and my mom did some photography for the 2001 Track and Field World Championships. So I got to go down there and walk in that tunnel and see what that's like. It's not a super long walk, but yeah, it still was a little nipply for sure.
Like literally.
Was it hovering just around -1 about that time yesterday when they were walking in? Probably.
I mean,
It was.
I was
I
a
had
little warm in what I was wearing when I got to Commonwealth at around 3:00, but by the time the puck dropped and the first and second period happened, it was noticeably cooler. Maybe because I was actually sitting instead of walking, but yeah, there was a bit of a temperature drop.
It's awesome to have you here because you were in the building for it yesterday. Watching on TV, you're watching this game, and I know it started. It was daylight, and then probably sometime around the second period, it got dark, and there was no change. In the visual presentation of the game, you couldn't tell like if it was lighter or not. Amazing lighting for that game. Like in the 20 years it's passed since the last time we done this. Well, for one, I think we got it right by bumping it up a month and not having to be close to -30 for it. So I think that's a move in the right direction. Although I got to say, in the original one, when guys are skating around the ice and you're seeing them see their breath like blow in front of their face and stuff, that was pretty freaking cool. but the visual display of yesterday's game was, in my mind, like that was the best hockey game I've ever seen. It just was a beautiful display of what 4K technology can do now. The lighting, it was better than watching a game at Rogers. It really was. It just was clear and amazing.
No, they did a fantastic job with the presentation overall. Yeah, I was in the building and I did come home and I have the Sportsnet app so I can watch a game from the beginning later if I want to. And it's
Yeah.
like I didn't watch the whole thing, but like I caught the opening ceremonies and watched a little bit in the first and third periods. Yeah, it looked amazing on TV. Like it was fantastic in person too. But yeah, the production value was awesome.
Okay, we'll ask you this because I've heard differing opinions on this. But when those two jets flew overhead, did you really hear anything? Because on the broadcast, we didn't. Like, it didn't sound like anything. You could see them, but you definitely didn't hear any sonic boom or anything like that.
Yeah, there was definitely no sonic boom. Like they were pretty quiet. Like I've been there for the flyover at Elks games before, and it was way louder. Like you feel that in your chest.
Right.
And these jets didn't have that. I heard the guys on the hangout this morning talking about that. They said they were training like trainer planes or something.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they weren't the same ones that normally get used for flyovers.
Yeah, I'm almost wondering if they've had some problems with the CF-18s, and they've kind of scaled it back a little bit, and they went to those instead. Regardless, I guess it's kind of cool to still see that and experience it and whatever. But if you've ever felt the real thing in that stadium, it's pretty wild. It shakes, and
Yeah, it's pretty cool when you feel that.
You get those goosebumps, and that I guess you get that seeing Connor McDavid too. What did you think of him back in the lineup?
He had a few good moments. Like I don't. Obviously, he's not at 100%, but he definitely had a few good moments.
Evander Kane, those boards really lively. Like hits on those things, you really saw the concussion. He had I think 6 hits in the game, but there was one that was really memorable. What did you think of his game last night?
Yeah, I thought he was effective. That's the Evander Kane we've been waiting to see. Yeah, he got the empty netter to make it look prettier, but he was hitting, crashing, banging. He was in on the forecheck, creating turnovers. Like it was awesome. It was good to see.
Yeah, I think I can try to call up him chirping.
Well, yeah, he was in the circle there after that hit from behind, which it was a penalty. It was warranted, and the Flames' anger was warranted. But he's got 5 guys around him. He's just like, what are any of you gonna do? Like that was awesome.
Yeah. No,
you have to know too, if they realize they're mic'd up, they're gonna say something to be memorable. They're gonna say something that's gonna make the airwaves too. So I'm sure you forget you're mic'd up portions of the game, but in certain moments you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna say something here. It's gonna.
I feel like a guy like Evander wouldn't forget that. I think he's got the right personality for that.
I feel like they had to omit some of what probably was said.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, you're not gonna. But like having said that, like Evander Kane, I thought was our best player. I mean, Draisaitl had an amazing game too, but Kane, he led our team in points. He led our team in hits. He led our team in shots, and just for good measure, he led our team in penalty minutes. Like he was just he was everywhere.
So if this is going to be a little funny because it's in landscape mode, but I'll pull it up here.
You're gonna get commercials again, probably.
Hopefully not.
Off him! First nice try, good try. What are you gonna do? What is anybody here gonna do? Oh, yeah!
He was pretty excited for Desharnais' goal too. That was pretty cool.
Like they didn't know it was Desharnais' goal until the third period, and I don't think Vinny even realized it until after the game. I was like, Vinny was all happy for Evander in that situation, but I think Kane was one of the first to tell Vinny.
Yeah, I didn't touch that. That's you.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't sure at first if he touched or not, because if you see, I think he gets clipped by a stick when he tries to jump out of the way by one of the Flames. like on the
So
shin.
he might have thought that was the puck.
Yeah, he might have thought that was a puck that actually hit him. So like he told Vinny right off the bat, because Vinny asked him to get that one, and he's like, I'm not sure. But, and then afterwards, Kaner was the first one I think tell Vinny that I don't think I touched that one. I don't think that was me. So. But that was a good reward for a good game. Because I mentioned before you got on there, Lottie. I thought Desharnais had his best game of the season so far. He did a pretty stellar job of on the 5-on-3s. He did a good job of boxing guys out from the net for a change. He actually used some of his physicality, especially on some board battles. So the goal was just the icing on the cake. Other than that, it's something that we need to see from him at this point.
Yeah, he was really effective breaking plays up and using his size and his reach to his advantage. Like, just Vinny bringing what Vinny needs to bring to the table to be successful. And yeah, it was awesome to see him get that goal too. His first NHL goal. A guy like that's worked as hard as he has and waited as long as he has. Like, that was awesome to see.
I wonder if there's anybody else that has scored their first NHL goal on an outdoor game.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
This toque you're rocking looks like it was from yesterday too.
It sure was.
I'm gonna see if I can do something here to kind of accentuate that. There, we'll make it a little bigger for now.
There you go.
Yeah.
For
people rocking it, and I was like, "Yep, I need that."
for a mere $110 or what?
Nah, not 110, but probably a little more than you want to pay for a toque. Yep.
That's pretty cool, for sure.
I like the whole getup. Actually, I was a fan of the whole getup. The jerseys, the pants, the whole thing. I know people were getting some flack about the brown pants or tan stuff. I liked the whole thing. I thought it was good.
It grew on me as it went on. Those jerseys, though, really popped. Like, you could see them from a mile away. Just brilliant colors. I really like that, for sure.
I was sitting in the upper bowl, and I could easily tell who was who. Like, no issues with seeing numbers. Like, probably, I couldn't read name bars, but I didn't need to because I know the guys off by heart.
Yeah.
But yeah, the jerseys look great. I wasn't a huge fan of the brown pants, but I'm like, what else? What other color would you do? You could have gone black, but the brown is that Heritage Classic feel, right? So I was on board with it. It looked good.
I think the Flames played it safe. Their jerseys were fine, but they just, they didn't make a statement with it. I liked what we had going there.
Well, they're fine, but what can you do with the Flames? They're ugly to begin with. Any kind of change, I guess, is different. Although, truthfully, I'm actually a fan of their Blasty jerseys. I don't mind those ones, but other than that, they're just butt ugly jerseys. Yeah.
There it is. There's the jerseys, and I'm not sure what's wrong with that image, but
I'll tell you what's wrong with it. There's a flame on it. Sheesh.
Yeah, they're a little blurry. Yeah.
So, Lottie, what was the atmosphere like? Like, what was the temperature of the crowd there? Because you can't feel that through the TV, obviously.
No, it was just a feel good, positive vibe. Everyone was there having a good time. Like, I was in a cluster of Flames fans, and we were all having a good time with each other. The battling cheers going back and forth. And everyone had a good time with it. But like, I was there pretty much from the doors open, and it was just a feeling of excitement and just positivity going through, which was just really fun to be a part of.
That's a better look at it.
What I like so far is that we haven't heard anything yet, at least in regards to any kind of shenanigans that went on that were, a bit more negative, like fights starting or, some people going a little overboard with some of the drunken stuff they might do. We haven't really heard anything about that or anything like that in regards to yesterday yet.
I'm thinking it was because the beer lines were crazy long and the concourse was a madhouse. Like, anytime you get Commonwealth that full, it's just impossible to try to get refreshments or anything. I stayed in my seat the whole game. Like, I went down there to warm up for the 2 minutes in the first intermission, but I didn't leave my seat again after that, and it was just pointless to try.
Skill testing question for you, Ryan.
Uh-oh.
Harder to get to the bathroom at Rogers or Commonwealth?
I would say Commonwealth. Like the lines at
Mm.
Rogers look pretty long, but they actually move pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas Commonwealth, they were not moving at all.
Yeah, I was hearing like half an hour to go and do your business, so it's that might
Well, I
persuade.
can't imagine for that game. I've been there for like Garth Brooks and AC/DC and Luke Combs kind of concerts, and that's bad enough for washroom lines. I can't imagine for something like where you got just shy of 60,000 people sitting there all
Yeah.
wanting to see.
It was bad. Like when I went to warm up in the first intermission, I went down there with maybe 5 minutes left, a little less than that, and the lineups were like still halfway onto the concourse. And it was a thick line too. It wasn't like a single file line. It was like everybody trying to wedge in there. It was crazy.
Is full capacity if for a football game they don't do it anymore? But is it 65?
I've never seen it above 60 at Commonwealth. Like I've been there for a few events where it was high 50s, but never above 60.
Yeah, I seem to think it's 65, and you were getting that when you had Gizmo Williams in your lineup, but since he's been retired, not anymore.
Oh yeah, it was different when I was a kid. I mean, I went to lots of games when I was a kid, and that's how I remember it was packed house all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So how many of you guys saw it coming that our first home win would be at Commonwealth, not at Rogers?
I did not have that on my bingo card, not at all.
Man, so having said that though, like we are unbeaten in outdoor games in the last 6 years. That's pretty good.
I mean, 2-0 looks pretty good for sure.
I don't know. I mean, the spectacle of yesterday, to me, like they should be doing this every year. That was just as a hockey fan. I mean, it was better in a sense. Like just the visual, I think, has got me in just awe. Than the original. It just the presentation. It just seemed like so polished. Lots of people are up in arms over Brett Kissel doing the anthem. I would have liked if they were going to go away from Robert Clark, go really away and bring in a Grammy Award winner. Go to Vancouver and pull Sarah McLachlan, somebody that can really sing. Like the original with Paulina Gretzky, I thought she did a wonderful job of the anthems too, and that was great. And apparently she doesn't sing anymore, so he couldn't reboot that. But I'm not a big Brett Kissel guy. To me, I don't want the Canadian anthem to turn into kind of twang, but that's just me. I know some people appreciated that, and
I don't want anything to turn into twang ever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's just I don't mind country music, but he's not my type of country music. But
I don't have an issue with Kissel, but I think with the Battle of Alberta, I think they wanted to keep an Alberta feel to it. Like Nickelback, I think that was a big part of why Nickelback was there.
Yeah, you might be bang on there with that.
With McDavid too, but
I seem to remember. I think it was a long time ago, Oilers Stanley Cup final, and I believe they had Bryan Adams sing the anthem once, and they swung for the fences, and to me, this was just laying down a bunt. But that's just my.
Well, now we're getting nitpicky. Jeez.
Yeah. But no, I mean the point of it, wanting to keep it with an Alberta vocalist, I can appreciate that. I mean, it's 2 minutes, so it's not the be all and end all for me, for sure. I was more discouraged with the Jets flying overhead. That's 3 seconds or not even anyway. But yeah, whatever.
I was more discouraged by Darnell Nurse's stupid glove in the face penalty. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, that was a dumb one. Like that wasn't the only dumb penalty, but that was a dumb one.
Yeah, I'm still a little leery of our discipline. That's for sure. I mean, I guess if our penalty kill is going to get better, I guess practice makes perfect. But geesh, that's enough practice, boys.
Yeah, 2 5-on-3s though in a period, based on stupidity. It just get away from that, please.
I mean, Dean had a stupid one. Nurse had the stupid one, and then that broken stick that Leon had. I'm wondering how that stick broke in the first place. Like, was there not a slash there?
Yeah, Yeah, but I thought the only really bad call was the one against Darnay. I mean, he just pushed the guy, and the guy fell over like nothing. Like, if anything, should have been 2 minutes for pushing. That was a ridiculous call. But other than
Yeah,
that, the other ones I thought
it
were
was soft, but
were
the
pretty
puck
good.
wasn't quite there, so I wasn't that upset about that
I'm
one.
gonna fight you on that one, Lotzie. I'm gonna fight you on that one.
Bring it. No.
What are you gonna do? What is any of you gonna do about it?
Oh man, yeah, I think Kane's probably the best trash talker we've had in a while. I know Cassian might have been close, but yeah. What are you
So
gonna do?
I thought Skinner played really well, and now we're coming up against Dallas here, who's one of the top teams in the league. So in your mind, not saying what you think is going to happen, but what would you be happening when it comes to the goalies for Dallas?
I'd say ride the hot hand right now. I'd say go Skinner. I mean, he's just got you. I mean, we lost to the Rangers game, but he played pretty well in that. Team kind of hung him out to dry in that game, and he played pretty well or on Sunday. He'll have the next game's not till Thursday, right? So he's got lots of time to rest. So it's not going to be a factor. So I think I'd go Stewart there. Maybe get Campbell back in when it's not Dallas, one of the better teams in the conference.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a sure answer to this one. If I had Campbell's numbers over his career against Dallas, it might make the decision a little easier. But
No,
I think you got to go with the guy that's going to
yeah.
give you a win, and he's got a win. So try to let him duplicate that.
Well, they both got to win now, but I'm with
Yeah.
Lottie. I mean, Skinner's pulled back-to-back really good performances, and yeah, the Ranger one you got left to dry. I mean, you're not gonna win any games by not scoring any goals, so you can't really hang that on Skinner. He gave us every chance to stay in that game.
Yeah.
We got Dallas on the second, and then you got Nashville 2 days after that, and harken back to that Campbell's win where he played stellar against Nashville. So even factoring that in, that to me seems like a more logical pick for him to have that game instead.
Yeah, you don't want Campbell to be out too long because I mean we have a little break here. Campbell hasn't played since last Tuesday, the Minnesota game.
Yeah, 24th,
yeah. So like that'll be 9-10 days if he gets to start Thursday, and then if he doesn't get to start Thursday, then it's going to be over 10 days. So it's you want to get Campbell in there, but at the same time, we have a hole to dig ourselves out of, and we need a guy that we can trust right now. I trust Skinner a little bit more than Campbell right now, just because of recency bias.
And that's legit bias. And I'm with you too, where you say a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, both guys haven't really shown much consistency yet, but yeah, right now you got a guy who's in a bit of a zone. You want to ride that at least to get your record a bit closer to 500. I kind of do think they might go to Campbell just because, like you're saying, of how long a break it is. But yeah, I'd be on board with the old Skinner start on this one, and then Campbell for Nashville.
We got a Slappy Waggle 1. Thanks for listening on YouTube. Saying Campbell versus Dallas. He's got 2 wins, 1 loss, 3.31 goals against average, and a .881 save percentage. I wonder if those are games where those are in his career.
Well, the only good number on that one is the 2 wins.
Yeah. And now he's got Skinner versus Dallas, 2 wins, 1 loss, 2.67 goals against average, and a .907 save percentage. So those are better numbers for sure. Same record, but yeah, I like the idea of putting the guy in where you don't have to score 5 to win the game. So
hats off to Slappy there for getting those numbers for us. Appreciate that.
And
yeah, awesome. Thanks.
He's our crack stats guy, saying he's played 1 with each: LA, Toronto, and Edmonton. I'm gonna go on a limb here and say the game that he lost was with the Kings because they didn't score enough for him. That's just a guess, but that's my hunch. And if he comes back with the answer to that, then I'll send you a beer in the mail.
Is that legal?
Everything's legal as long as you don't get caught. That's what they say.
I like the fact though that all the talk pregame was the fact that this is one of those games that could have been a potential turning point to use as a springboard. Yeah, it was against the Flames, but that doesn't matter. It's the 2 points we needed. So, how do you see this panning out for us going into the Dallas game?
I just got to say that my arrogance caught up to me real quickly here.
Now you gotta ask him what kind of beer he likes.
Yeah. We should be sponsored by Coors. Sorry, Bob. I guess you got to reshoot your question. I believe
I was just gonna say, what was the question again?
The question was with this, now that we got, I know it's just one game, but we definitely started playing a little bit like we're intending to play. How do you see this shaping up for us heading into the Dallas game then?
I think it was just like there was a better commitment to the system. Like we had the third forward high. We were a little more disciplined in the box +1. I noticed a little bit more of a 1-2-2 happening more often in the neutral zone, which I think is better because it forces them to dump the puck in a little bit more than the 1-1-3 we were hoping for the same result with. But that's just them executing the system better. And maybe we needed a team like Calgary to do it. Maybe we needed the GM and Paul Coffey to come talk to the team before a big event like happened. But hard. I don't think we're suddenly going to be the best team in the league right now. It's still going to take some time for the offense to start coming. But we saw some signs of a turnaround against Calgary. And I mean, yes, it was Calgary, but you can only play the team that's in front of you. So they did what they needed to do. And it's a good sign going forward.
I think, that whole thing yesterday couldn't have come at a better time with where the season has started. Just a breath of fresh air, a whole new, game day kind of routine and really weekend. And I was amazed at how nobody actually looked like they were feeling their way into that game. It looked like they were good to go right off the bat. And there wasn't really an adjustment period to the whole, difference of playing outside versus inside and being in front of 55,000 people and all that. They looked more polished yesterday than a lot of home games in Rogers Place, to be honest. And maybe part of that's because of who they were playing, but did not seem overwhelmed by the moment or any of that, and played a really good hockey game and did what they needed to do. And hopefully that kind of just builds a little bit of confidence and is the reset that they need to kind of get going here. I really hope that that's the case. They did look like they were in more control once they got away from the penalty problems in the first period. When it became 3-2, the Calgary's in the game, and there's an opportunity for them to tie it, and then oh no, here we go again. And they never let it get that. They never let it get to that. They did what they needed to do to close it out and walk it home and lock it down. And they're going to need to be able to play that way in Dallas, and it's going to be a tougher opponent too. Better goaltending. So they're going to have their work cut out for them. So that's a big game. I think if they can win that, then we might be talking about going on a little bit of a streak here. But got to take care of business in Dallas first. It's not going to be easy.
I think Dallas is going to be a good measuring stick game because I think they're one of the top teams in the conference.
Yeah, probably one of the toughest. Well, it is the toughest test they'll have had all season.
I mean, that Rangers team is pretty good too, but yeah, the Dallas game is going to be a real tough one. So that'll really give us a good sense of where they're at. I mean, with the little mental reset that the Heritage Classic offered, a little bit of a break afterwards. Yeah, we'll see where their heads are at. We'll see where their legs are at. It'll be a good test.
It didn't matter, but if the Rangers would have dressed Shesterkin, that would have probably been on the same level as Dallas. Let's see who they dress to as their goalie.
Well, the Rangers didn't need to dress Shesterkin, so
Yeah.
but I think like you touched on something there. There's the fact
did the
that
Rangers play Calgary the night before?
the night before was the night after.
I think they played. I think they went to Vancouver after us. So yeah, Lotzie might be right.
I don't know. I just was wondering, like, was it a back-to-back situation, or did they just not want to play Shesterkin against us?
Yeah, I think it was more they felt like they didn't need to.
Well, Quick's done pretty good historically against the Oilers, though, so he has that going for him too. Knows them better to begin with. I think, like you mentioned, Ursa, I think this is the right time for this to happen because there was so much negativity surrounding the Oilers, probably even amongst the Oilers themselves. Even though you can talk all you want about we tune out the outside noise, but you lose that many games, there's going to be a cloud hanging over you. And now this was like a whole different experience where everything was about positivity. It was just a one of those once to twice in a lifetime experiences you get to have as a player. And everybody's upbeat about it, and they just carry that kind of positivity into the game and finally play a game with some confidence in them. And now this win, it gives them a little bit more confidence. So, and I think one of the biggest things we've been lacking to the season after especially 2 losses against Vancouver, the one shellacking was confidence in our game. So it's a step in the right direction. And you're absolutely right, Lottie. This is going to be a good measuring stick to see where we're at right now. 9-10 game mark here in the season.
Rangers actually played Calgary on the 24th, and Shesterkin played that night, and so we played them on the 26th. So they just went with their rotation, I guess you'd say. And yeah, but once again, didn't feel like they probably needed him against us. And interesting, they felt like they needed him against Calgary. But yeah, they won that game. They won against us, and I think they went into Vancouver and won that game too. So I think they rolled through Western Canada, I believe.
What kind of concerns do you guys have on kind of Ekholm's stalled progress here right now?
I think that injury is holding him back just a little bit. He looked decent last night from what I could see. I mean, yeah, he was noticeably slow to start the year. I mean, he missed all of training camp, right? Like, yeah, he's a vet, and it shouldn't take him as long to catch up as a younger player might. But yeah, he's catching up, and he'll be fine in the long run. It's just going to take him a minute to get his feet under him, I think.
Do you think it's foot speed or a bit of timing or a bit of both?
Probably a little bit of both, but I think mostly foot speed. Because with him, I think it was a hip flexor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're bang on.
Yes, I think that has everything to do with foot speed.
Some stranger says part of aging. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's fair. He's getting into his mid-30s. So, I'm in my mid-30s. I feel it. I played a game on Friday night, and I'm still feeling it.
I'm not sure he was ever, a racehorse out there either. I just think he's a smooth skater. Yeah, more positionally sound than a lot of people too.
I thought the first half of his game yesterday was stellar. Actually, I thought he was pretty solid. He looked like the Ekholm that he was last year. Then he seemed to fade away. So I'm kind of wondering if fatigue plays a factor too here. If he's trying to build his stamina back up or what have you.
Yeah.
That's probably a small part of it, but like I say, I mean, he's a vet and he works out all summer. Like, he's an elite athlete. It's like, I don't think if it's a big concern now, it won't be for long.
Yeah, I agree. It's just that, 9 games in here or 8 games in, whatever it was, it would have been nice to see some sort of, I think he has been kind of one of our weaker D right now to begin the season. But I think once he does find those legs, like you're saying, Lotzie, he'll be back to where we need him to be. I've never seen him though in his time as an Oiler. I've never seen him get walked around on that one rush, be that flat-footed yet. That was very un-Ekholm like.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
wasn't that his first game?
I think you're talking about not the Calgary game, but the one before it.
No, he got walked around the Calgary game too on that one, the second power play goal at the blue line there.
got beat.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to who was
Beat,
actually
beat,
defending that rush. I was like, oh, why do we let that guy walk up the middle?
beat to the
I thought maybe you were in your 45-minute line for the pisser.
beat to the inside. I'm gonna push back, Bobby. I think that we were so spoiled with what like his level of play last year that our expectations of what he can do are at such a high level that we're being hard on him. He's still an excellent defender, just not quite at the same level as he was at last year.
And that's a fair counter. That's a fair counter. But again, I think he'll get back to close to where he was at least once he finds his game again here.
Yeah, he'll round into form, and maybe yesterday was a little bit of the Brett Kulak coming out party with them adding that goal. Seems like his level of play is picking up.
Well, he was in training camp too, right? So like, there's a few guys, McLeod too. So it'll take some of those guys a minute to get their feet under them.
Yeah, McLeod's been starting kind of slow, so
but I got like Kulak's last 2 games I thought have been really good. 3 of his last 4 have been really good, really. Like, so he found his legs quicker than I anticipated.
We talked yesterday, Bob, prior to the game, and you said you were expecting kind of a breakout game for Philip Broberg. What did you think of his game yesterday? I don't think it was a breakout game for him, but I didn't think he was a liability out there, just kind of flying under the radar. And from a depth defenseman, I can handle that.
Well, yeah, he didn't make any glaring mistakes, but he didn't do anything that noticeable. I thought he had a pretty average game. If anything, Desharnais' game kind of overshadowed that, and Broberg quickly became our 7th defenseman there.
Yeah,
and that's no fault of what Broberg was doing. It's more of an indication of how well Desharnais was playing. But I'm still waiting for that Broberg breakout game because we're gonna need it. Like, it's the season for him to do that. It's the year for him to do that.
Well, Calgary's not like a fleet of foot team either, so I think that bodes well to Desharnais.
It could have boded well for Broberg too, because one of his strengths is skating. We haven't seen him really start initiating too many rushes yet.
I'm just saying that I don't think Desharnais gets walked or looking foolish because they're just not quick enough to do that to him. So his skating doesn't become a liability in that kind of game, and his physicality and his length and whatever can just basically eliminate Calgary.
I feel like he started the year off, like Broberg started the year off with such promise. Like, besides the first Vancouver game, I actually thought that Broberg played really well against the second Vancouver game and in the Nashville game. So for me, that was kind of progress I was looking for. Okay, this is Broberg taking his step, and now he's going to start, escalating this kind of progression, and he's actually regressed. So that's been kind of annoying.
Some strangers wanting clarification, like breakout is in more offensive involvement. Is that what you mean by breaking out?
Just his overall game. I like the fact that he's not making a whole lot of mistakes right now. But yeah, like one of his strengths was when he got scouted and playing in Europe or the minors, whatever, was his skating and his leading the rush kind of thing, initiating the rushes. So we've seen flashes of that earlier on, not this season, but the last couple times he's been called up. But just nothing, not a substantial stride forward in that area.
I think he has it in him. It's for him. I think it's mental. I think he just needs the confidence to just trust himself and just do it. Like, he seems to have Woodcroft's coach on the Woodcroft's trust on the defensive end, based on Woody's comments before the Rangers game when he got bumped up to the second pairing. But no, like, we saw it in the preseason. Like, Broberg has excellent edge work and good offensive instincts. It's just a matter of him actually doing it.
So, on the subject of kind of younger D-men, Bouchard, I thought, showed that, he's capable of having a impactful game. I mean, puck, he doesn't need the puck on a stick very long to make a difference in a hockey game. And he didn't look like the liability in his own end, more of a controlled, poised game. And I think more of what we need out of him once again, I guess we can look at Calgary's team and their offensive prowess that they don't have, and be critical. But I thought it was a good game for him.
Well, I actually thought he made that step forward already in the Ranger game. I thought he had a good game against the Rangers over too, and he took another step forward in this Calgary game. So the fact that progression already started against a really strong team at the Rangers was encouraging. And he just carried it over to the Flames game.
Like, for me, Bouchard's big issue has just been handling the puck in his own zone. I'm all the way back to the preseason. The last game of the preseason, he had this terrible giveaway against Seattle where he was holding on to it too long in his own zone, and he circled back and then just ended up tossing a pizza up the middle. And then I don't know who it was, but they took it up and took it right in and scored. And ever since then, he's just been a basket case in his own end with the puck. I think I can think of one instance where it was like a true Bouchard defensive error. That was, what game was it now? He just didn't tie up a stick. He was there. He just didn't tie up a stick well enough. I think it was the Minnesota game.
Yeah, there's times where I think Bush gets kind of caught up, and he's not the only one for sure. But you're looking down ice trying to make the stretch pass to the far blue line or the red line, instead of making that 15-foot simple outlet pass that gets you going, up ice. So he holds it and waits and delays, and then pretty soon you're in trouble because your forechecker's right on top of you, and then you make a quick decision and it's a turnover or whatever. That's something that I think with experience he'll move away from and realize that sometimes the simple 15-foot pass gets you going up ice and away you go. The other thing with Bouchard that I think that it will develop over time here is some more urgency in his own end to retrieve pucks, be hard on people, and exert himself a little bit more physically. He's not a small guy, so I think at some point he'll start playing like a guy that's 6'3".
Some people call it a lack of urgency, and like this one kind of it bugs me a little bit because people call it a lack of urgency. I call it poise. He's so poised. Like I want a guy who has that level of poise and comfort to not panic.
Too much poise is a lack of urgency, though.
I mean, we're talking about the same thing, but I don't think he's the player he is without that trait. Like, I don't think he's as good of an offensive player without that trait. If he had more urgency, then I don't think he'd be as good as an offensive player as he is. But defending, I think his defensive errors get overblown. Like I say, I think it's a lot of puck handling errors and turnovers. I can recall the one time he didn't tie up a stick in the Minnesota game. He was in the right position, just not doing a good enough job of tying up his man. There's one, I believe it was Philadelphia, where he got caught in no man's land, didn't make a decision to try to go in for the pinch or hit the guy at the blue line, and it was a rush the other way and it scored. It's like those are the only two real defensive errors I can think of.
What I'll say is too much urgency is panic, and too much poise is failure to recognize that there's some danger on the ice too. So you kind of have to walk the line between it all.
I think like Bouchard overall, 8 games in, I think he's had 5 actually really good games. The problem is the 3 bad games he's had. The first one against Vancouver, where everybody had a bad game. He was horrible in the Philadelphia game, and he was bad in the Minnesota game. The problem is those 3 bad games have been so bad. That's mainly what people are remembering. The other 5 games, he's actually been really solid, like really good. When Bouchard makes a mistake, it tends to be a pretty catastrophic, obvious one.
He doesn't need the puck a long time to do damage offensively. Like, it's amazing how much of a one-shot wonder he can be. He just can't be the most dangerous guy on the ice in both ends on nights. If he can get away from that, he's a hell of a player.
Yeah, 100%. And then the bobbles, the yips, whatever you want to call it, like he'll work his way through that, and he might be on his way to doing that already. Yeah. But I don't think he's as bad defensively as people think he is.
No,
I don't think so either. I don't think
No.
so neither. He gets a bad knack just because he's so well known for his shot on the offensive side. But he does have a solid defensive game, and let's not forget that he's not even in his prime yet. Like he's also still developing, so he's developing into the guy that we envision him to be, and he's shown flashes of it off and on. So it's part of the process.
Let's also remember that Paul Coffey needed Charlie Huddy, and Charlie Huddy needed Paul Coffey, and I think Evan Bouchard needs Matthias Ekholm, and Matthias Ekholm needs Evan Bouchard. There's different pairings can one guy can have strengths in one area and his partner can pick up his deficiencies in another, and vice versa. I think that's just kind of the nature of the game.
Yeah, that definitely plays a role for sure.
And as a younger guy too, I wonder how much he actually does feel this pressure now too, like that being the quarterback on our one power play, of being supposed to be one of our top tier defensemen on our team. Wonder if that plays a small role in as well. He probably puts more pressure on himself, but there's got to be a certain element to that, perhaps.
No, I think that showed itself in just what I was talking about with the way where his headspace was after that giveaway in the Seattle game. Like he was playing pretty good hockey in the preseason on that pairing with Darnell Nurse, and then that happened, and then the Vancouver game happened, and it's been a train wreck, right? So. Yeah, you make one mistake when you're feeling good, you're on the top pairing, and you have all these expectations, and then that happens. It's like, okay. Like, I'm bad for it too. Whenever I play sports, I'm not playing up to my capability. Like, I'm real hard on myself, and then I struggle. It turns into a bit of a mental thing. So I can see a little bit of that in him.
So over the weekend, something happened before the Heritage Classic where Adam Johnson, former Pittsburgh Penguin in England, ended up losing his life due to a skate coming up and basically cutting his neck open, and they couldn't revive him. I was involved in rec hockey in an incident where I was reaching for a puck and a guy skate came up, hit me in the mouth, and it severed my lip. I hit the deck, and for a shift, I thought I was Ryan Smith or Darcy Tucker, and stayed on the ice till my shift was over. And then I went to the bench, and the guys are like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Touch your mouth." And there's a little bit of blood on my hand. I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "You need to go to the hospital." Okay. So I grabbed a room key and I skate over to the dressing room, get undressed, walk over and hand the guys the room key. I drive home. I walk in the door, and my youngest, Max, was like just born, basically. He was just like a couple days old. And his mother says to me, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Well, I need to go to the hospital." She's like, "Yeah? What are you doing here?" And I'm like thinking, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I need to go to the hospital." So she called a cab because obviously I wasn't in the right frame of mind. And I go to the hospital, and I wait and I get stitched up, and then I go home. And she gave me money for a cab ride home, but I thought I could walk. Well, it wasn't that far of a walk really from the hospital in Grand Prairie to where we lived, but I must have called her about 50 times asking her where we lived. I get home, and Max is not feeling good, so we had to take him to the hospital. So I go back with her, and we go to the hospital, and I'm like, "Hey, that's the doctor I saw." And she's like, "Does he have a concussion?" And he's like, "Well, he might." So that was my incident with a skate coming up and hitting me in the mouth. It happened so fast, and it was over so quickly, and you don't even feel it. It's just it's an instant, and it's done. And I mean, now there's talk online that this was intentional, and I think that's really hard to imagine in the first place. I mean, you grow up, you play hockey, you're on the ice all the time, and kicking incidents do happen on occasion, but it's something that I think is the most disgusting idea that somebody could have to kick somebody on the ice. I'm good with people fighting, dropping the gloves, a cross check here. I know things happen, a hit from behind, that kind of stuff. But to me, the thought of using your skate as a weapon on the ice is just something that I would never do. And that part disgusts me. And to think that somebody would go beyond that is so extreme. I can't even stomach it as a thought. And I'm not in a position where I'm going to say, yes, it was, or no, it wasn't, because I don't know. And to be able to try to judge that, I think is really tough. Like, how do you judge intent? I mean, what happened to me? I was reaching for a puck and the guy in front of me slipped and his skate came up, and it's over and it's done so fast that, and there's no video evidence of what even went, other than kind of the scar I have on my lip. But I don't know. That's such a wild concept, that to think that, and if that's the case, man, that's seriously fucked up. But I don't know. Do you guys have thoughts on that? I know it's not the most pleasant subject in the world, but
No, I would agree with you in saying that I would have a real hard time believing it would be intentional. Like, I didn't see I have no anecdotal evidence
yeah,
about the incident, but a skate in the neck, like, it's pretty hard to kick that high. I can't kick that high.
yeah. Well,
Like, how do
I
you even do that on purpose? Right? Like, guy would have to be in a real vulnerable spot for someone to do that on purpose, I think.
yeah,
Like,
he was airborne, so it just, I don't know.
it
And
sounds like a really horrible, unfortunate, accidental tragedy. Like,
it's
and
definitely all that. And I don't know how you would ever judge intent. It's yeah,
I
it's
think
great.
the,
It's
the
a
the key
wild concept.
here the key here is that Adam Johnson lost his life. That's insane. But on the flip side, it's also a little surprising that stuff like this hasn't happened more often. I mean, think about how many people in the world that play hockey, and you got these skates flying everywhere, and you know, uh, thankfully you don't hear too often about something like this happening. But the fact that it happens at all is just, oh, it gives me the shivers.
Well, I mean, Kane had his incident last year, right? And that was a wrist. But before that, something of this magnitude, you go back to Clint Malarchuk, and I mean, that's a long time ago, right?
Well, Zednik also got a skate in the throat there. That was 2008, I believe it was. So, but I remember the Malarchuk thing,
Yeah.
and that was '89.
So
And
I mean, how many man games are we talking
yeah,
from the time of Clint Malarchuk, till now? I agree with you. I think it's amazing there hasn't been more.
yeah, and like when I played, I had one of those as a goalie. I had one of those hanging throw protectors, but I
Right?
also had the Velcro one underneath there, like just the player white one that used to be back in
Yeah.
the day.
Yeah.
And I did get a skate in the throat. So it's about 4 years after the Malarchuk incident. And I did get a skate in the throat, scrambling for a loose puck in my crease where a guy got tripped up and his skate came up and caught me in the throat under my hanging one and just got the white Velcro one. And on the ice, scattered everywhere, was just all this white fuzz. And my throat hurt because I just got kicked in the throat kind of thing. And it was down to the plastic. So like that small little thing
Yeah.
probably saved my life.
Did its job.
And the very next day, I went and bought like the best Velcro throat protector I could find. Oddly enough, it was one that Kent Malarchuk designed, and I wore that all the way till the day that I retired from playing.
Yeah, it actually, that incident does make me think about wearing a neck guard for sure.
yeah, it's hard not to think about that. Like, I remember I had to wear one when I was playing Pee Wee, but I mean, I don't have one now. But like, I'm not playing intense hockey. I subbed for a Div
Yeah,
18
yeah,
TCRHL team, but
and
things
it's
happen
funny.
sometimes, though.
Yeah, you think that, and then like what happened to me was in all that intensive a game at all, and just a freak accident, and before you know it, you're going to get your lips sewn up. I mean, it doesn't take much, and I mean, skates are so sharp. It's a pretty clean cut. You don't feel it. And it does a lot of damage.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a good PSA. Like it's,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, we definitely should be thinking about neck protection and I mean, the maximum amount of protection possible. Like there's a bit of a culture where it's
Yeah.
not cool to wear protective gear. Like cool to wear like why are we
Yeah.
being stupid?
Yeah.
Needless.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thankfully, I've never been cool in my life, so I wear all the protection I can get.
So I think what I'm going to do moving forward, 8 o'clock seems a little bit tight for me to be ready in time because my youngest has volleyball till about 7:45, so then I'm rushing home to try to get set. That's why I was tardy today. That's on me. Sorry, guys. But I think next Monday we'll go 8:30 to 9:30. I want to thank Lotzi for hopping on board with us. He's got a gazillion, quadrillion, quadzillion articles on heavyhockey.net. He's pumping them out like a mad scientist. So if you need some reading, get on there. Bobby just recently wrote an article. I think Eric's got an article coming out tomorrow. So you can check that out as well tomorrow. I don't know if they're doing the drive show tomorrow or they're back to kind of later in the evening, but Mike and Bear and Dashney will be on EST tomorrow night, and then the Fantasy Hockey Hacks Wednesdays, I believe at 9 o'clock is their time slot. So you can check that out. Thanks for coming on, Lottie. Thanks for watching, everybody on YouTube. I'll have this out on Spotify and iTunes, Amazon, all those guys sometime tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Glad we beat the Flames. I guess if you guys got a final thought, I'll let you go with that, and then I'll shut us down.
Go ahead,
No,
Lotzi.
yeah, it was just really. I mean, talk about the Heritage Classic. I'm still on that good times vibes from that. It was just a really good celebration of the game and of the Battle of Alberta, and it was just a really great event. It was a great time, and yeah, it's one of those, like people have said, once or twice in a lifetime kind of opportunity. I was really glad to get to go to this one because I didn't get to go to the first one, and yeah, but as far as the season's concerned, it was great to get that 2 points and see them play hockey the way that we know they're capable of playing. And now we hope that they can just bring that forward to the rest of the year.
I'm glad you got to go, Lotzi. I knew quite a lot of people that got to go, so and they're all people that I respect and admire. So I'm glad they got to go and experience that. Of course, there's a certain amount of jealousy that I didn't go. I had the opportunity, but that's that. I just dished out $600 for repairs on my truck and stuff, and I couldn't justify that. But the other thing too, though, like Dash, oh my goodness, like Durst, I mentioned the you've been popping out lots of articles there, Lotzi, and the biggest factor is there's not a weak one in the bunch. So congratulations, keep doing what you're doing there.
Thank you.
Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Check out heavyhockey.net to check out Lotzi's stuff and some of the other guys that got some stuff out there. And let's go Oilers.
Yeah. A few days break in between yesterday's game and facing Dallas. I hope they can go on a little bit of a run here and claw back to 500 and then go from there. But I really think yesterday couldn't have come at a better time for them and for the fans. I mean, it was a special event, special day. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to be a little bit sad moving away from kind of the background of Commonwealth, but maybe we'll pull it out from time to time. Thanks for joining us, Lottie. And, you can watch this on YouTube. You can watch it on Spotify. And then if you need to do something else on your phone, it'll play the audio and go back and forth. It's pretty cool. Thanks again, everybody. Keep your sticks on the ice. Keep reaching for the stars. And let's beat the Stars. Go Oilers, go. Good night, everybody.